Hey, my name is Robert Pruitt, and this is the Black Tech Experience. Today, you're going to be watching a clip from my live stream when I talked about failing my Microsoft interview, everything from how I got it, how long it took me to get it, to me, the aftermath, and how I feel about it. And this video is very special to me because I really want to show you guys how much losing goes into being successful. Some of you guys feel like because you have lost one time that it's time to give up. But what you will see, I am not different from you. Like, the only difference that I have had in my life is that I stuck around to keep getting my ass whooped. Like, I probably failed over 50, 60, maybe even 100 interviews before I got into Twitch. Before, let's just say I made it to the big leagues, right? All those times I could have said, maybe they're right about me. Like, I was literally, like, I have another video, guys. Go back. I talked about how I was doing one of my Twitch interviews and I was crying because I didn't feel like it was perfect. And part of me wanted to just give up because it was like, there's no way that these guys are going to hire me. But I just kept putting my foot forward. That's all I want from you guys. If you're following me, when you listen to this, just keep putting your foot forward and you'll make it. Like, some of you guys think that there's no point to be a software engineer or learn how to program because of AI. That's bullshit. Just keep putting one foot in the forward. But other than that, please like, subscribe if you are messing with the video. If not, put a hater comment. That helps too. But yeah, please enjoy this video. Before I get into that, I would like to talk about me failing my Microsoft interview. And so, or maybe I shouldn't have spoiled the ending, but yeah, let me just talk about my journey to getting a Microsoft interview. When I was in undergrad, I was at Fisk, right? And I could get interviews with Microsoft, but I could never make it to a coding round. And that's because, like, they would ask me to do a brain teaser, like a riddle. And you might be wondering, what does a riddle have to do with programming? Absolutely nothing. You guys have to realize that a lot of these interviews are really towards filtering people out. It's not towards finding the best candidate. It's for making sure that the worst candidates do not get in. And so, I forget, he asked me some riddle and I didn't solve it. And they were like, from here, we're not going to interview this guy. And so I always felt salty about that. Like, if you guys can imagine studying binary trees, hash maps, it's like, I don't want to study riddles. It's like, it sounds like a pain in the butt. And for somebody to judge my ability to write programs upon my ability to solve riddles, then I think it's ludicrous. And to be honest, like, I have failed the interview before, and I think it's because this guy asked me a riddle and I'm laughing and because I'm like, bro, like, I just solved your data structures and algorithm questions. I hope, I thought it would be stupid that this guy would judge me by this riddle, but that's maybe one of the reasons why I didn't get the jobs or get that job. And so, yeah, the experience with Microsoft, I have been applying for years and years and years, and I have been heavily ignored, even, with Twitch on my resume and all that. And so, out of the blue, I see a interviewing request with an email from Microsoft saying that they want to interview me. I have 2 years of experience, at least with the FAANG companies. I have way more without it. And so I was like, cool, like, I'd love to interview with Microsoft. I come in, I talked to this guy, he asked me a question, and we just talked about my experience, where I'm at in my career, why I'm looking to move forward. to be honest with you guys, I would say the reason why that I am potentially looking for new opportunities is that I feel like there is no work-life balance in my current job. And so um, just, Microsoft has a different culture that they want to keep people around. And so, yeah, I think so. I told him about my background and he gave me a question and I solved it. I think I didn't give the best solution, but it was more just to see how I thought. And we went on from there. I went to the next round where I got to interview with the team. And so this is different for me. I've never actually interviewed with an entire team before. And so this position was for security. And I don't have a background in security, and it didn't sound like I needed it. But when I got into the interview, like these guys were asking for design security protocol applications. And to be honest with you, I am leak code out. Like I have done a lot of leak code. And what is it? I don't have a lot of experience with design interviews, but I'm familiar with how to design an application for my job and from doing the interviews before. And so what happened? I remember doing really bad on the first one. And then this guy asked me a dynamic programming. I did really good on the second one, or I think it was really good. You never know, right? This guy asked me a dynamic programming question. Let me turn this down a little bit. It is beaming in my head. I hope you guys can still see. I'm gonna turn it back on. I think it looks better that way. But this guy asked me a dynamic programming question, which is, if you don't know dynamic programming, I would say that it is not hard, but it's not the way that a human being would think about problems. And so you have to spend a lot of time focusing on solving those types of problems to get good at it. And it's just another way for people to filter them out. Does it ever, I can't even imagine a situation where a company would like somebody to come up with or would have to use a dynamic programming problem. But then again, guys, I keep saying, what I have realized that these things, the interviewing is really not to try to see if some parts of it can be, but as far as the leak code questions, it's not the best measurement of seeing if you can do the job well. It's just, can you solve a problem? And especially if you have if you don't have prior experience solving problems like that, you're gonna look really bad, no matter, even if you're the principal engineer of Google. Right? If you don't have experience solving recursive problems, dynamic programming problems, you're going to look really bad as a candidate. And the last one was a design applications. And I'm just I was honestly so exhausted from the dynamic programming and the design. I was like, bro, can you, we don't have to do this interview if you want. He's like, no, I'd still like to interview you if you want. And so we went ahead with it, and it was just more experience. I think I rushed into the design a little bit too early, or I did not define the requirements well enough. And yeah, I can't really talk about the questions in full, but I can give you maybe the themes of what were discussed. And so that was my experience. Even though I didn't do well, I want to say that I really enjoyed that, just to see, once I got finished with the interview, I had a ton of things that I wanted to look up about security. I had a better understanding about my skill set, which I consider myself a full stack developer. You would think that a full stack developer could be useful as a security engineer. And probably some of my skills would transfer over, but I think they need something specific towards people who are implementing protocols and understanding the underlying architecture of decrypting services or whatever. And so, it just was not the best look, and I was not prepared. And yeah, I would like to say at the same time, guys, I have a full-time job, and I think I have a project going on at the current moment. And so I'm working I would say closer to 50 hours a week. And I don't have a lot of time or energy that I want to give towards interviewing. And so, yeah, it's just even though, but I still want to get my hands wet or get more experience with interviewing with different companies. You can make contacts, message recruiters, and get information. And so it can be very good for your career, even if you are not ready. I think a lot of people want to win without failing at all or taking or learning lessons along the way. I don't think I failed. I think it was just a great learning opportunity, and I'll move forward to the next one. I just feel ready for whatever comes next. And so, yeah, and in the future, I probably won't be applying to security jobs as a mid-level engineer, and yeah, it's part of my journey. If there is one lesson I would like to tell you, is that you only have to pass one interview to get in. And so even though it's high stakes, even though interviewing can be finding a needle in a haystack sometimes, unless you are really, studying for a month on these programming problems, maybe then you might be able to consistently pass them. Even though it can be like finding a needle in a haystack, my life has changed so much just from the sacrifices and failing so many different interviews and keep moving forward. And I wish you guys the same attitude. Coming from where I come from, a single parent household where I don't grow up in computer science, I would say that I've done really well for myself, regardless of how many interviews I've failed. And so that is my spiel on failing interviews and moving forward. Thank you so much for watching the video to its entirety. Like, subscribe, share. Everything you do helps the channel. And to all my haters, keep leaving those comments. Those really help too. So peace.